Hi guys, Jean here. How are you guys doing this lovely evening? Well, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Today I was hanging out with a friend. We were having breakfast together, and she said that, I look at your videos and you're always saying to people, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And I said, yeah, that's how you are going to be helping me. It costs you nothing, but it's going to help me grow this channel. And I'm going to be so grateful and appreciative for your help. So there is nothing wrong with asking for what one wants, and I'm asking for what I want, which is to grow this YouTube channel. And tonight I wanted to talk about being different. Yesterday, I took a program on Zoom with this beautiful lady. She does a lot of work in A Course in Miracles. And she has been doing this kind of a work for a long time. I think she has a year program. But her program yesterday was on forgiveness. And it was quite interesting. It was just so amazingly different. And I got to be able to do this program with her yesterday because one of my friend had done it, and she sent me the information and she said, oh, I'm just sending this link because I did this forgiveness program and I think you're going to like it because it's different. It's deeper than any of the other program that I've done. And for sure, I was like, forgiveness, I know how to do that. I live in the spiritual world. Uh, I am truthful and all the things, right? But after finishing the program, I had a lot of time to reflect. And I also think it has a lot to do with some of what she said. But as within these kind of practice and programs and all these different things, she didn't really give us any answers. Mostly, she had a lot of questions, and we had to do a lot of journaling on the prompt, the questions that prompt us to journal. And one of the first question that we have was things I would like to let go of. And we had a chance to do a lot of the things that we would like to let go of, and also things that we are willing, it's the things that we are willing to do as well. To let go of things, we have to be willing to let go of the things, right? And we had a lot of questions and going back and forth. And between last night and today, I was reflecting on all of that. I was reflecting on, this idea for forgiveness and what it is that really came up for me doing this little program with this woman. And what came up was this whole idea that I am different, or I believe that I am different. And I was looking at it and I realized most of my life I felt different. I grew up on a small island in the Caribbean. Um, I literally had to grow myself. Don't tell my mother that I'm saying that. But the truth is, I grew myself. I can't remember. I love my mother. She's a beautiful woman. Um, She's one of the best people I know as well. She's very loving and kind, especially to her grandchildren, you know that, and her grandchildren. The way she loved my son there is no word for the way she loved my son and the way she loved her children, because she really loved her children. But of course, I'm one of the kids that didn't think that I got this loving, right? And I think you can relate with me on that. So I've grown up in this space where I felt I was different. I was the kid that went on adventures. I would go and go up into the land and explore for the whole day without knowing what time it is to come home. I would go to the beach and spend the whole day on the beach and climb all the trees and swim, and came home and probably get a licking or something like that. But I have always seen myself being different. And when I got a little bit older, I've also been told that I was different. I was told that, Jean, you are different, you are difficult, and you are direct, right? And so for years, I spent a lot of time, seeing myself as an island, seeing myself like, well, I'm different. I'm as different as an island, an island, I live in this big, vast Canada, and but I was born on an island. So I see this in myself as being different. And I'm I think I'm going somewhere with this with this with this being different, because I got something very different from the program last night. I got that technically I am not different. The only thing that really is separating me from you is the color of my skin. That's the only thing that is actually different, and maybe the texture of my hair. So there is a few things that is different, but when it comes to being a person, a human being, I am no different than you. And I think that idea that I was so different in all areas and everything of my life that I separate myself, that I've always been standing on the side, looking at everybody and telling myself, well, I'm different, so I cannot associate. I am different, so I cannot join in my colleague at work to do something that they're doing, because I myself, I'm different. And so I've carried this for so long, that the idea that I can sit and have this whole revelation that I'm not really different. And because I believed this for so long, it kept me separated from the people that I meet. It kept me separated from, when I say hello to someone on the street, or if I'm speaking to someone, the idea that I was different stayed with me. So I couldn't really be all of myself. I couldn't be all of who I am, all of this big humanness. So even tonight coming on here, and I thought, how would I explain, or how would I speak on this idea or this ideal that I am not actually different from you? I have literally the same fears. I have red blood going through my veins. I get as stressed out as the next person. I have problems just like the next person. I want a better life just like the next person. And in every way, I see myself as a good person, just like you do, like you see yourself as a good person, right? But this idea that we were born on a different continent, or we were born somewhere different, that the color of my skin make me so very different. And it does, right? In that sense of culture, it does, make me different. In that way, in the culture of it, I am different. I'm from a small island, so everything about me is, the culture of me come from that. So that makes me different. So I'm not disputing the fact that the color of my skin, um, the country that I'm from, and the way of my life and the way of the life that I have lived make me different in certain way. But when it all come down to it, fundamentally, I am not. I have brain cells like you. Um, Everything that makes up your body, apart from the color and maybe your hair texture, makes up the inside of this body as well, right? And we came onto this earth here to connect, to be in connection with others. So therefore, if myself, I'm walking around thinking I'm different, then I would not be able to connect to the other person. I will not be able to make deep connection as I would like to, because I'm walking around um, with this concept in my head that I'm so different. And I believe that part of why I also innately felt like I was so much of an alien, in the sense that I'm from another planet. I'm so much of an alien. I think too, when I end up, going into the psych ward, and had this, whole other experience, and end up in an asylum somewhere, and have this whole other really different experience, the kind of experience that I couldn't comprehend, I didn't understand. And it's like the experience that we are having in the world today, the things that is happening in America, people are terrorizing each other, going to a mental hospital, in a sense, is like that. It's like a terrorist invade your space. It's like you living with, terror, really. And it's what's going on in the world, in a sense. Don't get me wrong here, that I'm actually making a comparison or something like that. It's not exactly the comparison, but what's going on in the world, what's going on in Iran, what's going on in Israel, what's going on in Pakistan, um, in America, in Africa, possibly here in Canada as well. Wanting to separate, Alberta wanting to separate, and all of that. And I'm not sure why I'm bringing politics into that, because, guys, I have no clue. I have no clue, really and truly, when it comes to political things. I often see myself in the different person that doesn't comprehend or understand it. And I'm standing on that, just because I still don't understand why there is so much war, and I still have a hard time comprehending these mass men, that, just terrorizing people in the middle of the day, so that they can take all the illegal alien back to their country, the people that they believe is so different from them. And truth is, we are not. We are just human, wanting to have we are just human here. Well, from what I understand, we are spiritual being in this human body. We are spirit having a human experience, which all make us, again, kind of like the same, because if we are all spirits in a human body, we having this experience, and it may seem like we are having different experience, but technically we are not. Heartbreak is heartbreak. So if you having a heartbreak, it's a heartbreak. um if you're suffering, we are all suffering. I remember when I couldn't, for many years, I couldn't tell the story of me being in that asylum, because part of me felt like I didn't suffer enough. So I couldn't tell my story. There were people in the world that has suffered a lot more than I have. So it's more their right to tell their story. It's not until I understood that suffering is actually suffering. It doesn't matter what you're suffering from, but if you're suffering, it is suffering. So there is no measurement in your suffering. And I used to believe there was a measurement in it, because I think, oh, I haven't suffered enough. I need to suffer, like to really suffer. But what is that? I have suffered. And at some point, and I'm sure you have too as well, it may feel like a little suffering. You may have broken your legs, but you are suffering over the fact that you cannot use your 2 foot the way you used to. So suffering is that. But we tend to see it like like it's different. Different people suffer different ways, and we don't. So I came on tonight really to say this: understanding that I'm not different from you, really having that understanding. I have the fears, the fear of exposing myself, the fear of speaking, the fear of showing up, the fear that, I'm in a fight or a flight state because I don't know how you're judging me. I'm not so much afraid of your judgment anymore, to be honest with you. But when I just came on, that was huge for me. Um, the fear that I probably don't speak the same way like you, but I'm having an understanding here now. We all have an accent. You may be hearing mines, but I can hear yours. So we all have an accent, no matter where we come from in the world. The idea that because you live here or you were born here, you don't have an accent, yes, you do. And so do I. And mine's is more distinct, but I'm also hearing yours. So that in itself doesn't really make us different, but we can see that as a difference. I saw that my whole life as being, having that difference within me. I speak different. I look, different. So therefore I am different. But now I have the understanding that, well, the color of my skin, yes, it is. And, the texture of my hair, yes, they are. But everything else, my friend, and my culture, you know, um, my place of birth. Yes, that may be too. But I now have this understanding that when it comes to everything else, there is nothing different about you and me. So I invite you to look at the places where you believe that you may be different than your neighbor. Maybe it's the food that you eat. You may have in different, maybe it's the food you eat and it's different than your neighbor. Maybe it's the environment. It might be different than your neighbors. But when it comes down to it, my friends, there is nothing else that make us different. And it is why we can feel the pain of what is going on in the world. It is why we can feel um, the energy of all the things. It's why we are stressed out, although we believe that what is happening over there is not happening to us, but it is, my friend. It is. It may not be physically happening to us, but in our vibration, in our spirit, where it counts, it is happening to us. So I am going to leave you with this idea of to really have a moment and sit with why it is you think that you're different from someone else or from your neighbor, because this is something I have to sit with. It's very new to me, but it's really, really exciting because now I know that I'm not different and I can come and sit at the table. I don't have to stand on the side and hide myself because I believe I don't belong. I spend my whole life believing that nonsense, and I just got it that I could sit at the table and it's okay for me to have a seat there. Now, please like and subscribe to my channel if you have stayed here this long. I hope you really got something from this video. Remember to do less and be more, really, of who you are. Thank you for joining me and have a good rest of the day.